Good morning, guys. Everything's working now, so that's much better. Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys doing today? Good to see you, dudes. Welcome to Friday post Thanksgiving. Hope everyone has kind of like recovered from all of the American food that they ate yesterday. And if you're not American, I hope you enjoyed your Thursday. As boring of a Thursday as it was not boring for us. Anyways, morning, dudes. We're gonna be starting the stream today with something a little bit different. I am not listening to that all day. We're gonna be starting the stream today with something a little bit different. Instead of kind of mapping out what I'm gonna do for the stream, I'm instead going to sit here and AFK salvage for a bit, because I've taken some notes on what my thoughts on sailing are overall, and a lot of the different aspects of the skill, including charting, the early 1 to 30 grind, Barracuda trials, courier tasks, combat tasks, the bounty tasks, salvaging, all of the stuff having to do with the skill. And I want to share those because I think, some people would enjoy my perspective of sailing. I think it's a bit more positive than a lot of other people's that have shared their opinions so far. So I'll share my side of things and maybe discuss a bit where I think Jagex can improve and where they really don't need to. So that's what we're going to do to start the day today. Okay, well, let's get rolling, boys. Let's get into discussion a bit. Let's talk about sailing. To start with, the initial grind, the 1 to 30 grind. I feel like a lot of people really had a sour taste in their mouths with the start to sailing. Felt that it was massively slow. Most people, I think, were getting like 2,000 experience per hour up to level 30 so they could unlock the first Barracuda trial. I think that's most people, honestly. I think a lot of people were just not content with the start of the skill. For some people, it turned them off to the skill. They didn't want to do the courier task back and forth. They felt that it was just like almost nothing. The scouting, the charting was low XP at those levels, and I have a different perspective of it because I've actually done it twice. I obviously did it when it came out, and I had a little bit of a shortcut because I got that 10k bonus XP. I did it again because I've got another account that's 62 sailing, and this one I actually trained actively after doing a little bit of planning myself so I can kind of figure out the starting route. And with this, I learned how well everything meshes together from 1 to 30, even 1 to 35. It took me 4 hours to get from level 1 to level 37 without rushing, without overly planning, just kind of getting an idea in my mind of what to do. It's actually very fast if you know how to approach it. So I actually feel like the starting area of the skill, the 1 to 30 grind is what I would call the starting area, is in a really good spot right now if you know how to approach it. So once there's really good guides written on it and stuff like that, it's going to be solid, but you just need to understand how things work. We'll get into some of that, like, how it works stuff as we go on and discuss some more things. But the way that I did this was a combination of all three of the quests, obviously the Pandemonium, Prying Times, and Courier, what's the other one? Current Affairs. When I got to the level thresholds for those, I did those. I obviously did like the early initial bay charting around the Pandemonium and Port Sarim areas, all the very local charting there to start to get to that level 22 stage, and then to fill in that gap between, level 5 to level 12 between those two quests, and then level whatever you end up after the Prying Times quest to level 22 for Current Affairs. I did what's known as ABA charting. I'm sorry, ABA courier task. And ABA courier tasks, which again we'll discuss, is a very, very effective way to do the courier tasks, because courier tasks are kind of the experience of the courier tasks are dictated by how many tiles there are traveled between the two ports. So if you're doing a down and back task, like if you are in Port Sarim getting a task that says, hey, go get me something from Pandemonium and bring it to Port Sarim, that port is expecting for you to boat there, get it, and then boat back. So it gives you experience calculating both ways. And you can game that system by doubling things up. You can get that task at Port Sarim to say, hey, I want something from Pandemonium, come bring it here. You can get that task, you can tele to Pandemonium, you can have the wizard tele your boat there, pick up the task and then bring it back, then you're effectively only doing a little bit more work than one direction, but you're getting double experience for it. So you can do that while coupling it with a second task from Pandemonium to Port Sarim. So you get 2 tasks for the price of, well, really, you get like 2.5 tasks basically for the price of 1. It's kind of sweet. So we'll talk about that more in a little bit. I'll show you, kind of on the wiki how that's explained. When you work that into the starting route, it's like the perfect amount of those tasks get you to level 12 to get the second quest done. And then the perfect amount of tasks doing those to and from Catherby get you to level 22. When you group it up with some of the charting, like I I did one of those to Catherby with the ABA task to Catherby. Bam, I was 22 when I got there, and I got to start the next quest. So it's like Jagex really worked out those XP rates that if you set it up just perfectly, which I have a video on my channel from a few days ago of me doing this, and you can see highlights from that on that. It really meshes together well. So I think that the early stage of the game is very simple like that. Once I got the current affairs quest done, you know, it was the early quests, it was ABA courier tasks until level 22. I finished that, and then I simply charted the rest of the Ardent Sea. I got every single task on the Ardent Sea done, and it kind of solved itself, right? Like all of the tasks from Pandemonium all through Catherby, and then coming down here and doing all of these different charts around Apatol and back here, all of the Ardent Ocean tasks, once you complete them all, you're level 35 at the end of them. That is more than enough for the Barracuda trial. That is more than enough. It's enough to do Shipwreck salvaging here. Like basically, I did all of those tasks. I went and did the 3 Barracuda trials, which you don't even need to do all 3. You do the first 2, and you have the level to salvage from Barracuda salvage, so you can sit and double salvage AFK at that point with a decent grapple. So that's a lot of words to say. I think the early game is in a good spot if you know how to do it. To put it in comparison, when the game released, people were getting about 2,000 experience per hour, trying to just run regular courier tasks or figure out anything. Most people were getting about 2,000 experience per hour on day 1, up to level 30, so they could do the Barracuda trial. I was getting between 6 and 10k an hour that entire time when I just did it earlier this week. So I'd like call it 8k an hour average on the way to level 30. It was very simple, very easy to do. It didn't take much time at all. So I think the early game's actually in a good spot. People just need to figure that out, but they might still have a sour taste because they only experienced it once and did it the slow way when we were clueless and had nothing, you know, knew nothing about the skill. Going on past that, let's talk about charting a little bit, right? Charting, I think, is one of the most enjoyable ways to train the skill. It's not really meant to be like a training method, honestly. It's a good way that kind of, it kind of forces you to experience everything that sailing has to offer, right? You can't really do all of it until level 78. You can definitely get a good bit into it before that, though. As you get to the higher level oceans, you get much more experience. And then there's obviously, there's reason to do charting. You get the different kegs in your boat for the different drinks as you unlock different oceans. So you can get the keg that, you know, increases your cannon damage. You can get the keg that increases the amount of ocean encounters you get. If you like the ocean random event, you can get the keg that increases all of your experience by 2.5%. You have to do the charting to get those done, and the entirety of charting is worth 700k XP. So it's in a really good spot, I think, as just kind of a bonus extra thing to the skill that kind of just forces you to get out there and go through all the oceans. Because if they didn't have charting, I mean, you can really get by with just going to a few places and get 99 in the skill, especially if you're doing the trials all the way up, right? So I think charting was a good addition to kind of force people into like, okay, go experience everything, see what sailing has to offer. You can see all the different locations of the ocean. You can start getting an idea of where the different NPCs are that you need to kill for the bounty tasks. I think somewhere that it could be improved, though, is it's a good experience, but some of the crates are in a rough spot, and by that I mean like the ones that teleport you off the boat, the ones that, you know, wipe your inventory, whatever else. Like there's a warning to it, but honestly, people don't read warnings in the game. We kind of just spam click through everything, and I think it's absolutely fine to have those in. I think it was hilarious, especially from a content creator perspective, that, you know, you drive all the way out to the Great Conch, and then you drink a thing, and then you're back at, you know, the ruins of Unka or something, and you get washed up on shore, right? The problem with it is, even though there's a warning to it, those type of events wipe your cargo. Not a problem to toss you on shore, but it's gonna suck to some people, you know, to have 2,000 rune balls because they wanted to try out bounty tasks for the first time in their storage, hit that thing, and then bam, it's gone. Even though the warning was there, obviously, but it's just like someone doesn't expect it to kick them off their ship. So that was a kind of sour taste for some people, I think. If there was a way that when you got washed up on shore, you could go claim a cargo box that got washed up right next to your boat or something like that, I think that would be a much better way to handle that. Some sort of way to recover the cargo from the drinks. If you leave your boat in the ocean and you lose it, tough, I guess, but getting kicked off your boat from one of the drinks from the encounters or the you know, prying boxes, was unfortunate, I think. And I think, you know, not losing your stuff from that would have been a much better situation. For me, it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was the first time that I got big into salvaging. So I had like just fully inventory of a mahogany, you know, box salvaged. My first inventory of Barracuda, right? I had like 120 or something Barracuda salvage in my box. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go. I didn't have a salvaging station at that point, so I'm going to go to the Great Conch. I'll scout things, the charting on the way there, and then I'll clean all the stuff when I get there so I could try to get, you know, the amulet. I hit that crate, and you know, all of my salvage that I just worked for the past 25 minutes was gone. So that's a bit annoying, but still, it happens so few times in the entirety of the skill. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it has to be changed. It's just the only complaint I can really find with charting, that your inventory, your cargo hold gets wiped when you drink some of those drinks, and that's just unfortunate, honestly. I do wonder, on the note of charting, how the early 10k XP glitch or whatever else kind of like slipped through the cracks. I think that's probably just a dev that, you know, put that in initially, they tossed down some XP, and then they never went back and cleaned up and, like, you know, put the right amount of experience there. It was 33. It was obviously intentional by a dev to end up at 10k. I think that actual box would have been fine how it was, and some of you guys didn't see this, some of you guys did. So, you know, just to explain, on day one we found a crate that was up here by the Fremi province. There's one right about here somewhere, and if you drink it, you kill 3 trolls, and they were, at that time, the thing that they dropped gave 3,333 experience each. Now they hotfixed it after just a few minutes, and they changed it to 100 experience. But that's how some players were able to get really high in like the late 20s on day one, because we found that and rushed straight there to take advantage of it. I think it would have been fine to keep it that way if that box had a level requirement on it, like it required level 50 or something like that, or whatever's logical for this C right here. I think about level 50 to level 60 would have been fine, but instead they just nerfed the experience, and you know, yeah, that's fine, but would have liked to see that done differently. Just a note, if you're going to get into the charting, set your keg to 4% increased ocean encounters while charting. I think that's probably the best keg to have when you're going to do, if you're planning on doing like the entire, you know, charting route around the whole ocean, set your keg to the 4% increased ocean encounters. I had that on for mine, and I found that I hit ocean encounters way more often than other people did. I think that 4% might be additive. Like if it's like a 10% chance right now when you're going through a certain chunk that you get one, that might take it to a 14% instead of just adding 4% on that 10%, you know, to make it 10.4 or whatever that math works out to. I think it was actually very useful though, because I was getting them constant. Like every time I hit a new chunk, I'd get a new encounter. So I think that's worth having if you're going to go scouting, if you're going to go charting. Bring items with you for the giant clam event, because that's the one that you can either get, you know, collection logs from, or you can just basically trade something in for a higher alch value. And if you're on a hardcore particularly, but really anyone, when you're doing your charting, if you're coming across a box, a crate, once you grab the drink out of it, use the little wiki lookup button that's on your mini map here. Just click on this and then click on the item to look it up, and it'll pull up the wiki page for whatever that drink is, so you can see exactly what that drink does. So you know if it's going to kick you off your boat and wipe your cargo, you know if it's going to damage you, potentially kill you, you know, whatever else. If it's going to poison you, venom you, use that. It's a really good way to do it. On my hardcore, I do that every single time I come across one, and I'm going to have to continue to do it that way unless I end up memorizing all however many of these boxes there are, which there are a lot. You know, just a small tip there. And then also, for those that haven't already seen it, I think a lot of people have seen this, use the wiki to your advantage. This is a charting map on the wiki. You can find it by going to oldschool.runescape.com oldschool.runescape.wiki/w/sailing/map. Okay, and then with this, if you have the wiki sync plugin on your RuneLite, you can type in your username, you can click look up, and it will mark all of the charts that you have already done in green. So if I was this, you know, to change this to my other account, Kkauna, it'll show you exactly which ones I've charted, the Ardent Ocean ones, to get my level 35, and which ones I haven't. And if you want to, you can come up here and you can turn off any of these green ones. These are the completed ones. There's 6 of them. So you can only see which ones you haven't done already, and it makes it quite easy. So would recommend that. And there's also on the sailing plugin, there's charting helpers now. So it'll show you a green box on the tile you need to go chart all the different things on. So use the sailing plugin in the plugin hub as well. Quest helper even has a charting route now too. It's a bit wonky, I think. I would just personally stick with the map and the sailing, but yeah, so that's a pretty helpful thing to have there. So that's charting. Let's talk about Barracuda trials a bit. I think right now there's a really good balance with the Barracuda trials in terms of like where it is experience versus reward. You basically get no reward from it other than, you know, hitting the moat, the wind catcher thing on your boat, and the crystal extractor. This one, what did we get out of this one? We got the barrel, of course, and then the ability to have the drink, the whirlpool surprise drink. So those are really your benefits from actually completing the time trials, but otherwise you're not gaining a ton of GP from this, you're not gaining a ton of resources from this, you're gaining a ton of experience from it. So that's kind of the balance to the Barracuda trials. It's the most active training method, obviously. I think it seemed on release overtuned for some of the time requirements. Like the Jubbly Jive, a lot of people struggled hitting those times. I still haven't gone back to Marlin since like level 75, so I still haven't hit Gwyneth Glide, so I still haven't hit the Marlin time there. It's tough to do in you know, a non-fully upgraded boat. But if you think about it, the times that they have set on those different requirements right now to hit Swordfish, Shark, and Marlin, you can hit them with the basic boat that you get to that trial with if you're good, right? But if you're not that good, you still get mega experience, and then by the time you get your level up to upgrade your boat to the next speed from a higher hull, higher sails, whatever else, then it makes it much more obtainable to hit those numbers. So I actually think it's balanced in a pretty good spot. It's doable with the starter boat on each one of those 3 trials, but it's much easier if you upgrade your boat after getting a few levels. So I think it's in a good spot. It's fine where it is. I don't think those really need to be tweaked. The skill kind of ends up, you know, it balances itself there. The more skilled players can hit it with an entry-level boat, the less skilled can upgrade it, and they can hit it at that point. So, you know, I like that they added an active training method. A lot of people have said that they need to add a higher level trial for 92 plus. Right now, the experience per hour from the 72 justifies nothing else coming in, because you can't really add a 92 and then put it up to like 300k an hour. Skill's going to be broken, right? But I do expect to get an eventual other Barracuda trial in the future with some expansion. We might see like a high level 80s one or something like that. I think if they do that, they need to add a different layer of skill to it. Like maybe what they can do with that one is make it to where there's much more technical turns. So instead of going full speed everywhere like you do in the Gwyneth, maybe you have to actually manually drop down your speed to half speed to be able to make some turns in time or something like that. There's a lot of, you know, future skill things that they can do to it. So I think the Barracuda trials were very enjoyable, and it's another one of those things that, like, yeah, you can choose the fast 6p per hour option, but as we've learned, some of the drop rates on some of the items that we want to go for as Iron Man at least, or if you're a collection log hunter, are going to get you a lot of experience on the way to 99. So if you do Barracuda trials and spam it on the way to 99, you might still find yourself searching forever to hit some of the different things like the cannon barrel or like the bottled storm, or, you know, something else, the dragon hook, right? That you're going to get a lot of experience while going for those things if that matters to you. So an Iron Man definitely doesn't want to do, you know, trials all the way to 99 unless they plan to get a lot, 10 mil plus, you know, post 99 experience. I approached it a different way, and I'm doing all of the slower things first, and then if I can finish all of the drops that I want to before 99, I'll clean it up with Gwyneth at the end to get the skill done fast. Yeah, I like where that's at right now. Courier tasks. Let's chat about that a bit. So we talked about, you know, with the early grind, when I did that 1 to 30, I was doing the ABA tasks. And again, just to kind of show you how that works, on the wiki here, this is just courier tasks on the wiki. Obviously, it talks about how to do it, but the interesting thing is it kind of describes this ABA, you know, section here for the people that haven't really understood that yet. So the experience gained for completing one of these tasks is based on the distance traveled. So if you do a round trip delivery, so again, this is accepting a task in Catherby that has you pick up cargo in Port Sarim and bring it back to Catherby, and it's having you go from point A to point B back to point A, then it gives double the experience versus one that is in Catherby and has you take it to Port Sarim. So these are the ones that you want to look for. You know, it grants a double experience compared to exactly what it says, you know, going from Port Sarim and delivering to Catherby. And you can double these up. So what you want to look for when you're doing courier tasks is there's different setups. Write it down when you get it, because the board will cycle back around to having that available again. What I was doing with these was getting one round trip task and getting one from point B to point A task. So I was getting an ABA and a BA, and I was picking up 2 cargoes from the second point, bringing it back to the first. There is a yep, here we go. Thank you. I was looking for this earlier, but I couldn't find it. Sailing cargo port tasks on the wiki. There's a guide for this, sailing cargo port tasks. If you Google that, you'll find it, and it has the explanation of these ABAs with some of the different ones that you can do. You know, just fully explains exactly what we talked about, so you can You can take a look at that. The Relica board task appears. Relica, is this even easy to read? When an ABA task appears for Nadesnot to Relica, a Relica task to Nadesnot always appears. When an ABA task appears for Yatizo to Relica, a Relica to Yatizo always appears. So what it's saying is like at these different boards, there's always going to be 2 doubled up ones, like I was just talking about. So you can double dip. You can get an ABA and you can get a BA at the same time, so you're double dipping on experience. At the high levels, I think the courier tasks are breaking 150k an hour, so it's actually really strong if you're efficient with it by using this method. Whereas initially a lot of people thought that this was just trash experience. We found out in about the mid 60s, you know, kind of when I was doing that long haul from Alderan all the way up to Relica, doing the ABA route, that it was actually really good experience. Over level 82, I'm being told it's 150 to 180k an hour. Again, if you're going for, you know, collection logs, courier tasks are going to be something that I'm doing at some point, so I can get the boat paint for it. Actually, is there? No, I've already gotten the boat paint, right? Because none of the other ones come from this. I think it's the shark paint that comes from that. The salvers comes from the salvaging, which is why, you know, part of the reason I'm doing a lot of the salvaging. Plus, I want another cannon barrel. But just, it's a really good alternative if you're someone that doesn't like to do the trials, or if you just aren't very good at the trials. The courier tasks are actually quite nice for experience when you understand how they work. I think it's the most like thematically true way to train sailing. It involves the most sailing, right? Other than maybe charting. Felt slow at first, but it's in a really good spot now that we've kind of cracked the code and understand how the bounty boards work and stuff like that. Combat tasks. This is a really contentious one. Combat tasks are very contentious. A lot of people are very unhappy with the combat tasks, think that it's mega slow. Let me look some things up for you so I can actually show you some stuff. I feel like the combat tasks are not nearly as bad as people make them out to be. You need to understand that you're not going to be very strong with combat tasks if you get into them early. If you are using subpar cannons and cannonballs versus your level. Yeah, like the problem with combat tasks right now is a lot of people are trying to, you know, go kill things with a myth or an addy cannon, and they're using steel cannonballs because they prepped a ton of cannonballs. So they're not hitting very strong, right? So they expect that to be fast, but they're not using the best of the best stuff. You know, maybe not considering dragon cannons and dragon cannonballs, but you can upgrade your cannonballs quite a bit. You can upgrade your cannons quite a bit and get a lot more use out of this. So just to show you and give you an idea of this, one, I believe range pot affects the amount of damage you can deal with your cannon. But let's look at like a common, you know, cannon. Let's say rune cannon, right? If you're using a rune cannon, but you're using steel cannonballs, your max hit's not very high, right? Your max hit is about 16 to 18, depending on if you're using a range pot or not. The second number is with a divine range pot. The, you know, being maxed out on your 99 range pot, the first number is with 99 range. So with myth cannonball or steel cannonballs, you're hitting, you know, an 18 if you're on the cannon. Your guys, your sailors, your crewmates, they're hitting even less, right? If you can upgrade that to myth cannonballs, you're going up 4 damage. You're going up to 22 damage. You can go to addy cannonballs, that's 27 damage. So as you're, you know, gaining to a higher level cannonball, you're actually gaining a ton of damage. If you're using steel cannonballs right now when you're doing your kill tasks, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. I know it's tough to get cannonballs. They are smithable, and it might be something to consider to, you know, either come back to later after doing a frost dragon grind or whatever else, because you're going to get a ton of supplies like rune cannonballs. You're going to unlock the faster cannonball furnace. Maybe you can get lucky getting some myth cannonballs off of the shop. You need to consider this. At least I would not consider doing the kill tasks until level 80 plus, right? Let's start there. Level 80 plus, you can get all of the tasks available to you, I believe. You can get the vampire krakens. You can get, you know, the great white sharks. You can get all of the good things that have the big drops that you might want to go for. So I wouldn't touch it until level 80, because then you can get a rune cannon on your ship, 2 rune cannons on your ship. So you're hitting the maximum damage that you can versus something like a myth cannon or an addy one, right? That's bumping your max hit a little bit once you get to the higher level cannonballs. Now there's practically no difference for the lower level cannonballs if you're using an addy or a rune. But still, you don't really want to do it until 80 plus anyways, because you kind of want to use the higher level tasks, right? Because you want to get the drops from the higher level tasks. So rune cannon is what I would recommend. Mithril or above cannonball, I wouldn't touch anything steel or below. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your crewmates' time, and it's a waste of Jagex's time, because then they got to listen to you, you know, complain about the cannon being slow. Myth plus cannonballs, rune cannon, I'm getting about 100k an hour when doing bounty tasks. It depends, you know, on what creatures I'm fighting. But my bounty tasks have been pretty consistently 100k an hour at the level 80 plus range. only going between 3 different tasks. And that's the second thing I want to talk about with cannon tasks. Understanding how to choose your tasks for bounty tasks is very important. So you should go to this page on the wiki. This is / bounty tasks on the wiki. So again, if you Google bounty tasks OSRS, you'll find this on the wiki. And this is going to give you a list of different tasks that you can get. What you want to do is you want to sort by bounty, and then you want to sort by monster. Okay, so just click each one of those things. And then I cycle personally between 3 tasks. There's 3 things on my Iron Man that I'm interested in when it comes to the bounty tasks. Let's look at sailing miscellaneous. There's the dragon hook, which comes from the great white sharks. There's the bottled storm, which comes from the armored and the vampire krakens. And there is the swift albatross feather. These are the main things I'm currently interested. Eventually, when I get these things out of the way, I'll start working on the other things just for the collection logs. This is something that you really need to consider if you're going to do bounty tasks. There's always a situation, as far as I've found so far, I've never found a situation where this doesn't work, that you can get both albatross tasks, meaning the beak and the feather, or you can get both great white tasks, the liver and the jaw, or you can get both the vampire kraken and the vampire kraken ink, the tentacle and the ink task. So there's a lot of boards out there. At any given time, 2 of the boards should offer you both components to one of those monsters. So what I do is I choose which one I want to kill dependent on which one can offer me both of those tasks at the same time. Sometimes you're only going to have 1 vampire kraken task available to you, and that's not going to change until you do about 8 tasks in a row, and that's going to flip your board to something new. Then you go through and you look at things again. But those are the 3 things that I've been interested in: great whites, krakens, the vampire kraken specifically, or the albatross. And that's why I say wait until level 80, because I don't think you can get these guys until level 80. I don't think you can get the great whites until level 75. Those guys have the better drop rates of those items, though. You can get a bottled storm off of an armored kraken, but it's like more than twice as rare as it is off the vampire kraken. So you might as well just do the vampire kraken. Go through your boards. What I like to do is whichever one of these things has fewer boards available, I check that one first. So if I'm going for albatross, I'm going to go check the Brimhaven, the Relica, and the Etc. board. And if I can get the albatross feather task, then I'll also go look at the other boards for the albatross beak. If it's not there, I move on to the next one. I'll go look for the great white shark jaw. And if it's at Alderin, Khazard, Roberts, or Summer Shore, then I go get the liver as well. If I can get that one, great. I've got both of those tasks. I'm going to go kill great whites now, because that's going to give me my chance at the broken dragon hook, right? And you can hand these tasks in anywhere. So, I just hand them in at the most, nearby port. And then I find a way, either going to port, to Deep Fin Point and then hitting a charter ship, find a way to get back to whichever port I get that task from, which when you turn it in, it's going to tell you, okay, you finished your Alderin great white task. So then I just charter back over to Alderin, get the task again, because again, you're going to get those same tasks for like 8 to 10 in a row before your boards swap. And then once it finally isn't on there, then you go look for another doubled up bounty task. So only do bounty tasks if you do 2 of the same type at a time. That's my suggestion. There's no situation where you can get 2 great white shark liver tasks from different ports. You can only get 1 liver task at a time, but you can also get a jaw task with it. So that's how you should approach bounty tasks. And then past that, you really need to understand how you can set up double hitting spots. There's guides on the YouTube already on that. I've got a recent guide that I put up last week where I discuss how to set up your ship properly to hit the double hit spots, and also how to fire in different directions on your ship at the same time by using the ship targeting mechanics, which are right here. Essentially, just to make it very simple, I don't know if I can do this right now. I think I can. If I put Ada, can I put Ada on the cannon real quick? I'm not really sure if she can shoot a rune cannon. Yeah, she's kind of trash. Can anyone here shoot a rune cannon? I don't know if any of these guys can. Let's see if we can do it this way. He is D4, so I think Jenkins can. Is that the one that he needs? Only Olga and Jim? Only Olga and Jim. Okay. No, come on, cabin boy. Surely. You can't do it either? Oh yeah, it's P that you need. Okay, yeah. So I guess the other 2 guys can. These guys can't. Sorry. But what you can do with this interface, these are targeting options right here. You can watch my video where I explain this in full. But basically, if I have Jim on the right cannon and I have Olga on the left cannon, I can click on Jim's targeting option, turn the eye on, which it's on right now. It'll have a red slash through it if it's off. And I can click an NPC over here. Say I click the Shipwreck and he fires to the Shipwreck. But then I want to click this NPC too. If I click this one and his eye icon's on, he's going to try to target at that thing. But if I turn his eye off and I click this one, he's going to continue firing at the first side because he's not following my target anymore. So then I can have Olga with her eye on, click this one, and then I can turn hers off to where both of them are off. Jim's firing to the right, Olga's firing to the left, and I can hit a third thing. If there's a albatross over here, I can shoot that with a BOFA. So if you learn how to use these targeting options, it makes it a lot easier to understand how to do the bounty tasks. So just go look back in my channel and watch that video. It explains it pretty well with examples, but it's not very hard to understand. Otherwise, you'll see where the location is set up to be able to hit double targets at the same time. It's kind of finicky with that. But with some of the different tasks, like the vampire krakens and the great white sharks and stuff like that, we've already worked out locations to be able to drive up the boat the right way, right at a respawn point or where they aggro to, and hit doubles. So, you know, understand that. The bounty tasks, the combat tasks get a lot better. I really only recommend, though, doing the combat tasks if you are interested in the unique drops. If you're not interested in getting your own dragon hook or your own bottled storm, if you want to go bite off the GE, if you don't care about collection logs, it's not the fastest way to train the skill. It's not the most fun way to train the skill. Personally, I say it's best to sit 2 guys on the cannon and you fire something yourself, either a shadow, a BOFA, whatever else. I think that my DPS has been the highest that way. Plus, using a BOFA or something like that, I can tag things from far away, which is helpful on things like Albatross. I would really only do bounty or combat tasks right now if you're going for those collection logs. That being said, I do think Jagex should look into buffing the XP rate of the combat task because it doesn't closely match up with anything. Even if you're using a decent cannonball and you're using, you know, proper techniques with it, I think that they could look at doing about a 20% XP per hour buff or 20% experience buff to the turn-ins. So the tasks that are giving about 8k XP right now, make them give 10k XP. Do about a 20% buff on that. I think combat tasks will be a little bit more appealing to people. They're simply just not very appealing unless you want the drops right now, though. So that's kind of where that's at. Shipwreck salvaging. This is probably the most enjoyable way for most people to engage with the skill, which is ironic because you're not really engaging with the skill when you're doing shipwreck salvaging, but it's awesome. I've literally done probably 15,000 salvages already on my account. Actually, I think I'm over that number. I have a cannon barrel already. I've got like 5 moldy dolls or something. I've got a few of the different uniques. I actually haven't gotten the uniques off of many of the low level things, but I have like 5 dolls, a smashed mirror. I've got a cannon, you know, already. Need to get another one. This has been awesome. It kind of, this interaction with the skill feels like training fishing in Draenor back with the boys in 2005. It's got that feel to it. You can't see it right now. You can see the shadows of the ship. There's probably 200 to 300 people on top of me right now. I'm not even exaggerating. There's probably that many. It's crazy how many people are in these locations. There's 2 dedicated worlds for shipwreck salvaging if you haven't seen it already. I want to say they're 485 and 486. And look, it looks like 484 is bleeding over because it's so popular that these worlds are always full. When you're doing shipwreck salvaging, you want to be on a world that is dedicated to shipwreck salvaging. Either choose one of these 3 worlds or sort by skill total and choose the highest level skill total world that you can choose, because that's where most people are doing salvaging. And you need that because you need some sort of dedicated sailor like this legendary gentleman right here that is willing to go to the other spots and fish them up so the 500 people that are here can AFK their 2 spots. You need that. Right? If you don't have that, basically how, like I'm at merchant salvage right now, and how this works is only 3 of the 5 can be up at any given time. So there's a situation where these 2 are not up and the other 3 are. So you need this legend over here going around from shipwreck to shipwreck to respawn these ones where everyone else is AFKing. So those guys are the heroes. Bless people that do that. You guys are awesome. But this has been just a mega enjoyable way to train the skill. It's mega AFK. You can have it less AFK to click your extractor every 60 seconds. Most people, I would say, do not bother with that. It's a nice mix of, you know, enough engagement because you can't leave it forever. You have to periodically clean, take 10 minutes or so to clean everything to free up your cargo hold so you can, you know, AFK further again. Less AFK, but more rewarding if you touch the XP extractor, but it doesn't feel like it's necessary to do that to engage with this side of the skill. I do have a complaint about it, and my complaint is I think that the drop rates of these like later on ones are pretty okay where they are. They're pretty rare, 1 in 3,000 or so. But the Rusty Lock, the Multi-Block, the Dull Knife, like the early level things, I don't think that there's any reason that you really need to have these at about a 1 in 3,000 rate. I don't know exactly what they are. I'm expecting that these are 1 in 3,000 across the board. According to the wiki, they are. I don't think anyone at the higher levels, once they finish all the other clogs, really wants to go back and salvage from the very, very low level one for a 1 in 3,000 rate. I think it'd be more logical for these early level ones to be about 1 in 1k, 1 in 1.5, enough to kind of encourage someone that wants some AFK time to hit that early on, but not really, you know, be punishing to the stage where like, all right, you're just making a clogger go do busy work for 3,000, you know, KC on average at the lowest level, most terrible experience per hour giving thing. I think that's a bit silly, right? These ones being as rare as they are, I mean, they could even be more rare, honestly, when you have, you know, the dragon cannon going on. That's fine. My only complaint is I don't really want to go back to get these 5 low level things at a 1 in 3k rate. That sucks, you know, but it is what it is, you know. It's just, if you do salvaging from 1 to 99, you might not even get all of these things, you know. Like, I am currently on that grind since level 35 on my other account. I have not done anything except for salvaging. Plain and simple, I've only done salvaging. Apparently I hopped worlds at some point and pulled these guys off, so I haven't been doing anything for a while, but I've only done salvaging on this account, and I'm level 62 now, from level 35, so from Barracuda up. And so far, I've gotten one thing, I think, which is the dull knife. I guess I started at Barracuda, so I actually guess I'm not in that bad of a stage. You know, I got the dull knife, and I guess I'm on the broken compass or the rusty coin right now. One of these two. I think I'm on the broken compass right now. But most people are going to, you know, skip these early ones. I guess it's fine if there's only those 2 left, but you really have to sit at salvaging for a long ass time to get those items. I've been here since level 53 and only doing salvaging that whole time. I still haven't gotten it, and there's no end in sight. So I think maybe the low level ones can be retuned to be a little bit more common, 1 in 1.5k, 1 in 2k maybe, but I think 1 in 3k on those is just a bit ridiculous. That's a long rant to me, for me saying that, you know, the same thing over 5 times in a row, but yeah. What else? The collection log aspect of it, though, like that whole page right there, actually, I think it's a really good addition. It might just be bait for clog hunter, but I actually found myself staying at the Fremi salvage for longer than I had the level for, so I could try to get the collection log. Maybe that's a bit nerdy, but I love that they added these, because it does give you kind of a desire to want to do more salvaging, for the same reason that like the dragon cannon is so popular. Like, some people just want to get that done, so they're doing a ton of salvaging. Like, it's a good little carrot on a stick that they're dangling, because it makes me want to do more salvaging. The downside is it makes me not want to do Barracuda trials, where I could be getting mega XP per hour, you know, compared to this. I do think that the drop rate of the dragon cannon is wrong right now on the wiki. I looked a couple days ago. I'm not entirely certain if it's still saying this, but a couple days ago it was saying that this is a 1 in 17,500 chance. I think it's probably closer to 1 in 10,000, because I don't think the sample size of what did they have, like a 280,000 sample size? I don't think that's oh, they updated. It's 1 in 18k now. I still don't think it's that rare. I think oh my gosh, it's based on 2.9 million sample size now. Okay, maybe it's that rare. I was going to say before it was only a 380,000 sample size. So that's only like 22 barrels coming into the game that they're judging that off of. So they've updated this to 2.7 million sample size, and it's gotten more rare. Okay, maybe it's just 1 in 20k. Maybe it is just even more rare than I thought it was. I'm very happy that I have one of these so far. But if you think about it this way, how many of these salvages do you think you can do an hour? Is it, you know, 300 maybe? It's a good amount that you can hit per hour. I don't know what the estimations are, but I think they're over 300, maybe 400 an hour. It's quite a bit, right? So if it's 400 an hour, to hit 20,000 of these is a 50-hour grind. A dragon warhammer for a normal, you know, stage of a game of the game, like if you're not doing dragon warhammer grind at absolute max, takes longer than 50 hours. So it's not like it's that insane of an hour grind for an old school RuneScape player, in my opinion. People are going to look at that and say, you know, okay, 1 in 20,000 is a mega ridiculous rate. But if you're tick manipulating, you're getting over 500 salvage an hour. If you're AFKing, you're probably getting over 300 salvage an hour. I don't think it's that bad where it is. I don't think it's extremely rare, even if it's 1 in 20k. So I actually think that's fine. Now, that being said, that's a lot of damn experience, man. That's if you have your guys AFKing on this, like what do they get? An average of like 125 XP a pop plus your 95 experience. If you're going for 2 of those for your boat on an Ironman, that's 8.8 million experience. That's the part of it that I don't agree with. So I don't really think that it's crazy that it's 1 in 20k when it comes to the drop rate, when it comes to the amount of time that it takes to get it. But the amount of experience involved to get 2 of them, if you're even like, if you're grinding the Barracuda trials, you're going to be at 20 mil XP by the time you go for these things, right? Like, I mean, or by the time you get them, if not more. And that's just to hit the drop rate. And we all know that it's, you know, 1 in 3 people are going to go past the drop rate. You know, 1 in 3 people. That's just the fact of it. Because I doubt that there's any sort of dryness protection set up with this. All of that to say, I think it's too rare. Like, fine, 50 hours. If it's 50 hours, it's not that bad. If it's 100 hours for 2 of them, it's not that bad. But the fact that it is 2/3 of the way to 99, level 87 is 4 mil XP. That is literally saying you have to sit at Opulent Salvage from 87 when you unlock Opulent Salvage to 99 for that last 8 mil XP to hit the rate. Do nothing else except for Opulent Salvage to hit 2 Dragon Cannon Barrels if it's a 1 in 20k rate. So I think that should maybe be rethought. I don't really love that. It's one of those things that it's like, it's not required to have. You can definitely get by with Rune, you know? You don't have to go for a T-Bow. You can definitely get by with a Bofa. You don't have to have a Shadow. You can definitely get by with an Eye of Ayuk, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of like Jagex's, you know, perspective on it, which is why they made it that rare. So it's, again, it's one of those things that I'm fine with, but it could probably be a little bit more fine-tuned to be a little bit better. Maybe 1 in 15k is more reasonable on that one. So we're not sitting here for 8 million experience for 2 of them. And that's only if we're hitting drop rate, by the way. You know, if they left it how it is, I would not be upset. I just think it could be a little bit better. Ocean event. Let's talk about ocean events a little bit. These things were absolutely awesome. Now, obviously, the most that I engaged with these was when I was charting the whole sea. Again, I recommend that if you're going to do sea charting, put the 4% increased ocean rate drink on your ship. It's worth it. I was seeing these things at least basically once per chunk. If I drove from here to here and then the same distance again, so basically like the expanse of like from here to here, I swear I was getting 1 in this stage and then I was getting 1 in the next stage. Like they're definitely triggered by some sort of, you know, amount of tiles traveled thing. Like you probably have to, you know, travel over 100 tiles and then you have a chance to see one again, something along those lines. But this was mega enjoyable, even though the experience isn't insane when you're picking some, you know, castaway dude up. Being able to, you know, I have one complaint with it. I'll get back to it. The giant clam is a lot of fun. The castaways, them actually coming onto your ship and you having to take them to a port, that's a really fun interaction. It's not mega experience, but it's just enjoyable. I have a complaint about the ocean encounters though. As fun as they were like rewarding random events. But as fun as they were, the wind one is way too overtuned. Wind is like 60-70% of the thing that I see, and that's just too overtuned. I don't like how often we see that, and I wish there were at least some other ones that were more common than the others that gave us, you know, a better benefit. The wind's fine, you know, you're getting by faster, you're sailing faster, you get a little bit more experience. It, like, I swear, if I hear that sound, I know it's going to be wind, you know, and I wish it was something else sometimes. Eventually there's going to be a stage of the game where we're going to be 99, we're going to have, you know, everything else that we want, and we're going to have to sit there and drive back and forth on the ocean just to spawn these encounters so we can, you know, get the rest of the clam collection logs or something. I love that they added this to the skill. It's something that they absolutely didn't have to have in the skill. It's just an extra thing, and it was just like an extra added dopamine hit while I was, you know, doing charting or whatever else. So that was fun. Pearls are 0 time with the trawling log. Fair. That's actually a good point. If you're going to do trawling and if you're going to go for the giant fish from trawling, then yeah, I guess you'll be, you know, 0 timing all of your pearls from that. I forget where that is. It is somewhere on here. The fish miscellaneous, wherever the fish miscellaneous is. I think it's actually just under miscellaneous somewhere, right? But I can't see it. I'm blind. Bottom. Thank you. Why is that not in alphabetical order? If you're going to go for the fish collection logs, then I guess you'll be getting all your clams during that time. So, you know, there's that. What else do we have? Frost dragons. I think we should talk about frost dragons a little bit. Right now, they're easy to kill. They're mindless. The drop rates of the sheets and the nails, I actually think are fine how they are. Yeah, if you're an Ironman, you're going to be there for over 10,000 kills. It is what it is. You shouldn't have chose Ironman mode, right? But they go fast. It's like 200 plus kills an hour if you're in good gear. It's not a very long grind overall, in my opinion. The problem is there's not enough of them. 6 per world to match rune dragons and addy dragons for something that's, in my opinion, much more appealing to kill than rune dragons and addy dragons just doesn't make sense. I know Jagex has discussed this a little bit. They've talked about adding a task only area. I don't love that unless task only increases your drop rate of the things massively. Because right now, if you have a decent block list set up at Kuridal or Duridal, it's like a 2.7% chance to get frost dragons, and you're only getting 70 to 120 of them, which isn't even the drop rate for 1 metal sheet. That sucks. If I have to go do, if it's a 2.7% chance, I'm going and I'm doing like 30, 35 tasks just to get 1 frost dragon task. That's not a good solution. to bring in a task only room. It's not going to clear anything out, you know? You have to do so many of these things that even if you're doing 99 Slayer, you're not going to be able to kill enough of them on the way to 99 Slayer at a 2.7% chance to make any meaningful impact. So if they did that, you have to increase the drop rates of things when on task massively, or they can do something right now that would impact things better than adding a task only room. This could be a temporary change. It doesn't have to be permanent. It could just be a temporary change to kind of account for the higher traffic through the area right now and for the next couple of months. This is the type of thing that World of Warcraft does to solve these things. Decrease the respawn timer. The respawn timer is about 18 seconds right now, and if they move that down to like say 5 seconds, then you can actually justify having 4 people there per world for 6 dragons. It's still not going to be great, but it's actually a fix that they can put in that doesn't require them to change anything about the room right now. They don't have to make a second room. They don't have to make a nonsensical instanced room for Iron Men only. They don't have to, you know, build out a different cave setup for a task only area. They could simply just temporarily reduce the respawn timer to account for the massive amount of flow through the game, especially before bots get there, and then later on, a couple months down the line, maybe put it back to where it was. Maybe not even all the way back to 18 seconds, maybe on 10 seconds, I don't know. But right now, the entire room, the entire Frost Dragon thing is unenjoyable. There's 4 people per world. Nowadays, half of the mains that are maging half tag the monsters. They kill the Frost Dragon to 40% health, and then they tag the next one and make you finish their kill because they can get away with doing that. So it just becomes this big griefing area that's just not enjoyable for anyone. It's a frustrating, you know, aspect of the grind. It's currently a major roadblock for Iron Men. And though the game shouldn't be geared towards, you know, easing or appeasing Iron Men, the current setup of 6 on a slow-ish respawn timer, it just causes crashing, griefing, half-killing, overcrowded worlds, 4 to 5 people trying to grab a dragon. It's just an unenjoyable experience right now. That's kind of my thoughts on that. It's going to take millions of Slay XP to see enough plates and nails to get what you want. Sure, there's lava strike worms as well, but that's a 1 in 512 drop rate, and they don't drop nails, I don't think, so that's not great. I think they need to do something about that. They either need to double the amount of frost dragons, or they need to reduce the respawn timer. And if they double the amount of frost dragons, I don't think a task only section for that doubled, you know, offset is enough, because I don't think it impacts drop rates that much. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm just wrong about it, and we haven't done enough drop rate testing. Maybe the drop rate is cut in half, or maybe even cut in, you know, more than that. If you were on task. I don't think it is, though. But that's my rant on Frost Dragons. That should be improved, because that sucks right now. A few miscellaneous notes on the skill. I wish there was more to use the new logs on. It's hardwood, camphor, ironwood, rosewood, all of that stuff. They're hardwoods. Maybe being able to eventually make new structures in the POH makes sense. You know, teak, mahogany, that kind of stuff is hardwood. And kind of your in-game stuff in your POH being a base mahogany, which is like accessible at level 50, doesn't really make much sense to me. I think there's good room to at least, you know, refresh the construction stuff. I don't know if they really need to. Maybe they can give more storage space or something like that. I think they can add that without massively increasing the amount of experience that it gives to break the construction, you know, leveling route. But I just wish there were more things we could do with those. I wish there were more that we could do with the hardwoods, the camphor, the ironwood, the rosewood. It's great that you can actually make the repair kits with them, but I just wish there was more to it. The shipyard, like your POH for your ship, where you're building your ship, put a bank in there, Jagex. You've heard a ton of people say it. I think you don't want to put a bank in there because you don't want it to be too fast or too convenient or whatever else. But if you really think about it, we're not really spending that much time overall in the shipyard on our accounts where it would be broken if you put a bank in there. So just like for, I don't know, enjoyment's sake, you call it whatever you want to, just, you know, quality of life, just put a bank in there. Like, yes, you can go somewhere like Deepfin or Khazard or something like that, and you can have a bank really close to the guy that takes you, the shipwright that takes you to the place. Most people that are going there are only building one thing for their boat, and then they're getting back on the water. So maybe 2 things for their boat and getting back on the water. So no one really wants to go pay to move their boat to Deepfin or move their boat to Port Khazard so they can build one thing and then go back. And then also, the Pandemonium being the major hub that most people are going to, no one wants to run all the way to the bank and then all the way back 2 times or 3 times or whatever else to get all their supplies. It's not necessary. It's not something that has to be done. It would just be a nice quality of life thing. I just think it's not so impactful that it would feel broken. Deep fin solves shipyard, but I would make the same argument that I just made, that no one wants to move their boat there to build 1 or 2 things on it. So, and then the last kind of like gripe that I have, moving boat facilities. Obviously, Jagex already knows this one. It should either be doable in the type of modify screen that we have in the POH to move around the rooms, or when you break something down on your ship, you should get half of the supplies back rounded down. You know, if I move my crystal extractor, I should be able to recover 1 magic stone from this thing. Maybe the other one breaks or something, but that would at least offset, you know, the wonkiness of moving things around and finding the ideal setups and whatever else. It's not, again, it's not one of those like game-changing things, but it's not unrealistic to think that your player can push a cannon from this side of his ship to the other one. So like being able to move that is logical. I think that they should consider that. So that's kind of my top to bottom review of sailing, how it is right now, guys. All of the different aspects of it, of what I like, what I don't like. The skill's awesome. The skill's 9 out of 10. It fits in the game massively. Jagex killed it with this one. I'm mega impressed with it. I think a lot of people that were not happy about sailing have actually come around and are at least enjoying it a little bit. Great skill, honestly. There's some improvements that can be made, but it's a great skill. I'm very excited to see what happens from here, to see what direction the game goes in, because I think with the success of sailing, people are going to be more interested, more open to a future skill. This kind of blew expectations out of the water for a lot of people. So thanks, Jagex. Okay, review done. TED Talk complete. TED Talk complete, man. How much food did I eat yesterday? A good amount. Not an insane amount. I only gained 2 pounds. All right, I think I'm going to go do something else. I think we're going to go do some combat tasks to start the day today, guys. Instead of doing salvaging, obviously I don't want to sit here. I just wanted to do this so I could be doing something while I was yapping. I think we're going to go do some combat tasks today and see if we can pull that dragon hook, or actually I might upgrade my gale catcher this morning. I could actually do that. I've got the albatross feathers for it. So maybe let's start by upgrading the ship just slightly. Let's put our gale catcher on, and then we'll go on. We'll send. Are you going to try the dragon cannon at 92 or save your sheets? Nah, I'm probably trying at 92, bro. Yeah. Once we get 92 today, we're probably putting a dragon cannon on, man. Yeah, we're probably not going to save those sheets. Who needs to save sheets when we can have a dragon cannon, bro? Only been doing salvaging. You were auto-clicking salvaging, bro? You don't even have to auto-click it. It's easy. Oh, I got a swift feather on like the 2nd kill today. Let's go, dude. That's awesome. I got crashed today at Frost Dragons, guys, and I got a sheet instantly after I got crashed. I told you, it's good karma to get crashed, man. Oh, I got a shark paint again. That's like shark paint number 3 for me, I think. And I got another swift albatross feather at some point. I didn't realize that. I think I'm on 9 now. Kind of like stacking for Barrage Slayer. Now, there's just a cool thing about them being at the front of your boat. If they're at the front of your boat, the front of your boat actually safe spots them until you attack them. So, like, they're not going to attack me right now. But once I attack them, then they will. If they were coming up to the side of my boat, it actually, like, they would attack me right away. But the front of the boat safe spots until you attack, and then they start hitting, which is why I'm not hitting this one yet. And I'm not going to hit this one because this one actually won't resolve based on where his spawn point is. He won't resolve in front of me. So I only attack him once both of the other 2 are down and not respawned. Ironwood hole, yeah. Am I going for 2 hooks or just 1? I'm probably only going for 1 because I do prefer having my guys on it and mega AFKing. Oh, another swift. That's my 10th one, my guys. So now I could put the gale catcher on both of my current boats and we can work on getting another one for a fishing trawler. Sorry, am I crazy or do I not? Oh my gosh, chat. Guys, this is awkward. I am not even on albatross task right now. Not even an albatross task. I'm just killing them. Did you ever get a liver or jaw from the same kill? No. As far as I can tell, you can't get them from the same kill. Probably rolls one, and then if that doesn't roll correctly or doesn't roll successfully, rolls the other maybe? I don't know. What I think it does is it rolls for a jaw. And if the jaw is successful, it doesn't roll for the liver. If the jaw is unsuccessful, it then rolls for the liver. So I think when you have the tasks doubled up, I actually think that it's a 1 in 20 rate for the liver because it's rolling for the jaw on a 1 in 2 chance first. So Jagex should look at that. That would be my guess as to how it's working right now.
Collection logs.
What? Yes! Let's go! Let's go, chat! The broken dragon hook. Yes! Yes, 342 great whites. That's so good, dude. We only need one. That's the only one we need, man. Don't need two. Well, when I AFK salvage, I set my two guys on the salvaging hooks, my boy Jenkins and my boy Captain, and I don't touch the salvaging hook. That allows me to AFK until I have 240 things in my cargo hold. Whereas if I'm on it, I have to stop one side when my inventory fills up, so I can't AFK as long. Right now, only one of the crewmates can use the dragon hook, and that's Cabin Boy Jenkins. Saeed doesn't have enough level to do it. So you do one dragon, one rune, so you can still use both of them. So like I could get a second one for the eventual time that they bring out a new crewmate that has level 4. But right now only one of them has it. Look at the log, man. The collection log is actually so good right now. Holy, we're winning. So I have all the materials to build that. The dragon hook, it takes 16 nails and 6 sheets. Yeah, so right now I can either put a hook on or I can put a cannon on. And I'm 21k XP from being able to put the cannon down. So I actually have to make a decision on that. I mean, I could simply just go get more metal shards. I think I'm at how many sheets am I at? 9 sheets? I'm at 9 sheets total. So I need 15, I think, for both of those. I mean, we'll just be going and doing some more frost dragons, but I plan to put both of them on. Surely I want it on this side over here, right? The dragon cannon on the starboard side, because if I ever want to fish myself, I can sit on my rune side. Well, oh no, do I want it on the rune side? Because if I ever want to be the one on it, I don't want to have to use it over here and then have to run to my cargo hold. So dragon here. Either way, I'm almost always sending my crewmates on it. But for them, it doesn't matter, right? For them, it makes no difference which side it's on. But if I was ever to use it, that's the only thing I need to consider. Then I need to have it on the cargo hold side. So dragon goes on the port side. I think that's the only way. Like I can't switch it. Like I get one chance at this. I got to get another dragon hook if I want to change it. We gotta put it on the cargo side. Depends on if you plan on doing it manually or not. Yeah, and I think the answer is I just don't, right? So we're putting it on this side. I'm just gonna decide over here. We're gonna go for it, boys. We're gonna go for it. I don't do a lot of manually salvaging myself. I AFK this thing to 240 because we vibe sail, right? So we're just gonna put it on this side right here. Yeah. We're just gonna commit to it, and if I decide to change it. Wait, why is everyone yelling at me? Wait, why are they yelling at me? The other side's the AFK one? Other side if you don't want to do manual. But why does it matter if I don't want to do manual? If I'm doing it AFK, it doesn't matter which side it's on. The only question that matters is which side do you look at more and which one looks cooler? No, that's actually a really good point. Because I salvage with my camera like this. So if I have it on the right side, I get to stare at it more. Jank stays there, I assign Captain Saeed there, and it's solved. So simply the only answer it is better if I put it on the right side because it's less steps overall for either of those situations. And the added benefit that I get to look at it more. We go on this side. I accept. No! Every time, bro. Every time. Give it 5 seconds. Give it 5. Pause. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, how many people, chat? How many people just told me, oh, but you could just go outside and grab a saw and a hammer? I bet you someone did it, bro. No one today? I'm amazed. Oh, there it is. You were typing it out. I bet you I just made like 20 people backspace, bro. All right, here it is. Ready? Ready? We're accepting. Right side. Dragon hook. Yeah. Yo, okay, I gotta put a rune keel on, man, because my boat looks cool because it's got a couple dragon things, but it looks stupid because I've got to add a keel. So let me go work on fixing this real quick, man. No, actually, we'll do it another day. We'll do it another day because I'm gonna go eat lunch too. So we're gonna go try out the salvaging, boys. Let's go try out some salvaging. Okay, we're gonna go try somewhere new that I haven't tried before, but I hear there's a double spot there. So let's go test it out together. We're gonna go west of Alderaan, because there's supposedly a double merchant spot out there. So to get to Alderaan, we're just going to take whatever our closest teleport is to a charter ship. We'll just go to Deepfin Point, bring some cash with us as well. I'm there now. There's no double merch spot. Well, I'm gonna go see, because I either have to not believe you or I have to not believe the other guy. Right? I've got you saying that there's not one. I've got the guy after you in the chat saying that there is one there. So someone's lying, is what I'm saying. I mean, this would definitely be faster to get to than the tangled kelp. It's 1 map distance, whereas where's deep fin? Is deep fin? Wait, what is there? Oh, there's a bluey. Now let's get some bluey experience. Oh, I didn't bring food. I hope I don't get hit. Dang, we're cooking this experience. Yeah! What an awesome way to get level 92, boys. So if I get more sheep, I can put the dragon cannon barrel on. I've got 1. The ship's coming together, man. Iron Man ship, it's coming together. All right, we're gonna see if we can find some overlapping situations here. Not only that, I bet you I can very easily identify where I'm supposed to be if I simply go to one of the maxed out worlds. Go 485. You're sailing the right way. Thanks for the good content. Yeah, I appreciate you, bud. Looks like right here, north, south, maybe? Or over here. Oh, this looks like it right here. A lot of boats right here. These are pretty close together here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so from this exact spot here, it is a double salvage spot that's faster to get to than the tangled kelp. All you got to do is show up here and align your boat on the shadows of all of the other boats, and that's the easiest way. I think you can also probably hit these two if you're north-south like this guy is. So this actually might be a better spot overall, because then people can easily AFK both sides, so you'll more actively get them up without someone manually running to the other spots. That's pretty sweet, man. That's pretty sweet. There goes the coziness, chat. It's gonna end up being all-out war now. Sheet! Blessed before the war. Ah, I hate 4 people to a world, man. 3 people to a world is so cozy. 4 makes it such a headache. Good and bad? It's only gonna get worse this weekend, man. Like, this session is the last that I expect to do with Frost Dragons this weekend. Why no! I don't want that, you little... Don't drop that. 1 in 15,600, that is. 1 in 15,600 for that drop right there. 1 in 15.9k. 1 in 15,900. Oh my gosh, bro. Come on, dude. Yeah, give me the visage at least, man. Like, at least I could do that. I could do something with that. I could use that, you know? That drop is terrible. 1 in 16k, man. There goes my dragon cannon for the weekend. Ah, blessed. Never mind. It came back to back with a metal sheet. We're actually happy again. Thank you for the blessing. This is my first 2-kill trip, chat. Or 2-sheet trip. We're happy. We're happy. Blessed. Hey, sheet number 1 this trip. 2 more today, chat. 2 more. And we can make the cannon. Come on, dude. We could do it. There's hope. There's hope. Back to back. Hey, the dream's not dead. Dude, I was so close to saying the dream is dead. I was so close to saying the 2 remaining dragon sheet dream is dead today. I was literally about to say it right after that kill. We got one. I think we are now 1 sheet away. It can be done. We can build our cannon before the weekend, potentially. I'm excited for this. I want the cannon on the ship, man. I want on the boat. On the ship. Let's hope. 1 more. I really hope I'm not accidentally 2 away. I think I'm just 1 away. I think I've got the count right. Ah, I went and got the sandy paint. Nice. Did you guys see how to get the sandy paint, by the way? It's kind of awesome. You have to do the crab dance as you kill a hermit crab. That gets you the sandy paint. That's kind of clever. Kind of clever, Jaga. There was nothing on the wiki for it, but someone figured it out this week. 7 metal sheets. I need 1 more metal sheet to be able to make the cannon, so we'll do that next week. But for now, we're just going to set up some AFK salvage, and I'm going to wrap things up there, my dudes. I think both of them are up right now, so it's not really great to be able to tell. But, all right, chat. I'm taking off for the weekend. Thank you guys for chilling with me this week. Hope you enjoyed the bit of the sailing review that we did today. If you have any hot takes on it or just anything to share on how you feel about sailing, you know, leave a comment on the YouTube video that's going to be up on this, and you know, I'd like to hear back and kind of respond to some of them. So I will see you guys next week. Have a fantastic weekend and enjoy yourselves. Take it easy, boys.